it allowed me to see beyond the borders and barriers that they put up. Because where they said there were limitations, I found a way to make sure that there aren't any for the ones coming behind me. Because like I said, when we live in North Carolina, there was a very high Native American population as well. So, we had to get along. And I mentored Native Americans, Caucasian, and Africans, and Black people in that mentoring program. I'm just thinking about some stuff, but it allows me to have a vantage point of being able to relate to the individuals that I'll be talking to, because I grew up in the inner city. I've been through a lot of things that they've been through. I've suffered loss.
It's made me confident in my skin color, to pass it on that, just because, I'm a shade darker than this person, don't let that hinder you from what you want to be. Love your skin color, love your personality as well. So that's what I would like to share into my mentorship. You may be darker than this person or lighter than this person. We're all different shades that God has made us. So that's what made me want to go into this even more in case my mentee has that type of issue. Just know who you are and be proud of that. Don't let that hinder you from what you've heard in the world. Just know that you are made with a purpose, and doesn't matter what skin tone you are.
Well, I know I wanted a young Black female to mentor, because, like I said, my aunt was a big impact on me, and I want to be able to guide, a young Black woman in society nowadays. I want her to see, when you go to college and get a good job, what impact that you can have on the world. So that's why I wanted a young Black female to mentor.
It guided me because I was a young Black male at one time, and I wanted to always let them know that I wasn't too old to say I wasn't, and that really guided me by opening up and saying, "Hey, there were questions about race that I had at a very young age, and they weren't answered for me, or I wasn't truthfully told." We were able, and I said, man, the internet was just coming along when I was young. So now we can explore and we can look at what bills are there, and looking at government and looking at community. It also being able to relate of where we grew up, in the areas that we grew up, the places that we went. It was awesome that I could just go back in time and say, hey, man, these are the places that I grew up. These are the people that I looked up to in my community that were great Black women, great Black men. So for us to go back to those neighborhoods and introduce Chapman, and he see the camaraderie that we had as a Black community, was just awesome. It was an enlightening experience for both of us, because when you're in those situations and you're growing up, as you don't know how much you're really truly loved, because it may not be voiced to you. And being raised as a Black male, my father and my mother didn't express it enough. They didn't always express it the way I felt that they should, but I knew they loved me. So it got to the point where they're, oh, you're hugging me again, get off of me, you're hugging me again, because my parents gave me what they had at that time, and I don't take anything away from that. It's just, I wanted to take it up another level, and also back it up with the affirmation of hugging and letting them know how much you mean to me and how much you mean to the world.
Well, for me, it really hasn't been any challenges, because my mentee, she's an African-American young girl anyway. She hasn't gotten a lady yet. I'm not trying to speed that process up because I enjoy being with her so much. I don't want her to grow up too fast. So we do talk about things, though, that usually for her, being a little girl, she hears things, and we like to talk about those things. And she'll ask me, she's asked me before, have you ever had that happen before? And of course, yes, I have. But I don't like to step in too much because I feel like her mom needs to be the one to explain a lot of our situations like that. But I do try to chime in the best that I can, because as being her mentor, we've become a family.
So it's interesting. So the kid I mentor, or my mentee, he's Latino and white, but he's adopted by an African-American family. And if you ask him, he's African-American. He doesn't think he's Latino mixed with white. He understands he is because he's 18 years old now, but he identifies with African-American culture. So it was a little different initially because even though he's adopted by an African-American family, he didn't fully understand some of the barriers and the way people look at African-Americans versus people who are Caucasian and have his skin complexion. So it was a little difficult to guide him through that process so he can understand, but it was easier because he was raised in an African-American household. And so, there was a lot of strong reinforcement there.